been the toughest part?
Honestly, I think for a lot of guys, the toughest part is just being away from their family, to be honest. I know some guys are struggling with that, being away, being homesick, but I lived in Utah really by myself for this whole season, so it really hasn't affected me much. I think the biggest thing is just time structure. I mean, we're not just sitting around all day. We're right out of meetings, right into practices, so it really hasn't been bad for me.
When you got moved up to #1 in the nation, how did you take that?
It was a shock. It was a real big shock. I was actually meeting with Coach Fitch, going over some of the playbook, just trying to get some things done. And I get out and my phone was just blown up. I mean, my dad was calling me, everybody was calling me, and I didn't really expect it, to be honest. I mean, it's such a blessing to be named that. I mean, I can't even fathom being named the #1 player in the nation. But, you get here and it means nothing, really. Like, it's a big deal to be named 5-star, whatever, but you get here and you have no stars. Like, you're below the totem pole and you got to get after it.
Yeah, did that help that you were already here? It wasn't going to get you another offer.
Right, yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, I mean, it's just a pat on the back and that's it.
Then when you decided to come here, you wrote something on social media about, I'm going to bet on myself. And that really is a part of playing quarterback at this school, because you understand the pecking order is guys just like you who are extremely talented and have great ability. How did you mentally arrive at that? That's what I wanted to do. That I wanted to embrace that sort of potentially difficult beginning to a career. Understanding how much is here.
I think a lot of it came with me moving up to Utah. A lot of people doubted me going up there. Didn't think I would even play even this year. And so I think just having that underdog mentality, and at the end of the day, everybody can throw it. Like, no matter where you're at, everybody can throw it at the next level. It's all mental. And it's knowing the playbook, knowing coverages, knowing fronts. Like, that's it, really. Everybody's going to be able to throw it, and you got to get those things down. And so I just believed in myself, and I think if I want to go do the big things, I got to be with the best players around me.
On that front, though, is it so referring specifically to the mental side of the game, there is that competitive element that every quarterback has to have.
Oh, yeah.
That self-assuredness
no doubt.
Play. Can you walk us through how you become that person to come to a place here and compete with 5-star? How did you arrive at that?
I think just going to all these camps. I think just through the years, I've built that confidence of, okay, yeah, I can stand with these guys. I mean, it even just started out throwing with my quarterback coach and throwing with guys like Tyler Shuck or Gunnar Cruz or Ryan Finley, Ben Finley, guys that have gone in the NFL as well. And I just realized, like, yeah, everybody can throw it at the end of the day. It really isn't about arm strength, and it's about getting out and knowing the playbook, like I said. But I think once I knew I could throw with those guys, it was like that confidence just took off, and I just realized that I got to do the other things right if I really want to make it.
Devin, being here for the Michigan State game, I would feel like the epitome of what any quarterback would want to see that day. Just being facetious here, but is that the day you decided to commit to Ohio State?
It was not. It was not. Really, the day I committed, it was like 2 days before that I really decided, and it was a hard decision for me. There was a lot of great options, and just at the end of the day, I just knew this was right for me.
So to see a day like that, I mean, the reputation Ryan Day has as a quarterback. To see it to that level, does that kind of validate whatever thoughts you were already thinking before you got on campus?
Definitely. Just to see all the talent around him and making all those plays. I mean, Michigan State was the #9 team in the country at the time, and they just got after him, and so that was so fun to watch. And I could just imagine myself playing in that offense and thriving in that offense.
I don't know how much time you've gotten a chance to spend around CJ, but obviously he's entering year 2. He's more of a leader now. What are your first impressions of him, and then impressions of Kyle as well?
Oh, he's a great guy. Both of them are great guys. I've been throwing out with Kyle. We threw it last night. We've been throwing like 3 times a week. It's been really good. But I met with CJ like twice, really. It's hard. He's in and out of workouts, and we're at different times. I've only worked out with him once, but just really good dudes. I mean, they just want the best for everybody. It's nobody's like too cool or anything like that. Everybody just wants the best for everyone. It's a really cool environment.
Devin, you wouldn't be here if not for what happened with Quinn. I mean, he was the #1 player. He ends up coming early, leaves. Now you're here. You're the #1 guy. Do you see kind of the irony or coincidence, or just what do you think of that dynamic?
I mean, I think things worked out. Everything is how it's supposed to be honest. I was committed to USC for a long time, and I think things just worked out for the better, and I think this is just where I'm supposed to be. I think this is how everything was supposed to be mapped out.
And when Quinn left, did you immediately think, well, maybe that's a possibility for me?
I was already committed before he left.
Right.
And so I wanted to come and compete with him. I competed with him at the Elite 11, and I got nothing but respect for him, and I wanted to go out and compete against him. That was my goal.
Devin, when you look at the way this roster is set up right now, and you know that CJ's going to be the starter, that puts you in a different position than maybe other
other freshmen who want to try and play right away.
Right.
How's that? What is that mindset like when you know that's probably not going to happen in your end?
You know, even seeing this year, Kyle got in some games this year. You're really one snap away from getting in. So depending where I'm at in spring ball and everything, I could be one play away from being in the game. So I still got to attack with that mentality if I could still be playing right away.
Can you talk about your relationship with Joe Germain and what he's meant to you?
Oh, Coach Germain's the best. I mean, my dad has grown up with his family, and we've known him for the longest time. And his boy Jack, me and him are super close. He's a year below me, and he plays quarterback as well. So he's always texting me, asking me for advice and everything. But, oh, man, Coach Germain, I wouldn't be here without him. And the 2 years that I had with him, 3 years that I had with him, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, he taught me so much, and he was just an overall great person. I mean, his knowledge for the game was incredible. I can't say enough about Coach Germain.
How much did he lobby you about Ohio State?
You know, he was going to be biased about Ohio State because that's his home, but it's kind of funny seeing him all around the building, like all of his pictures and everything, but he just wanted what was best for me.
So whose game like the NFL level or college, I guess, do you kind of see as the way you play, or someone you try to model a little bit?
You know, I kind of try to take bits and pieces from everybody. I really like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's one of the greatest to do it. But also, my all-time favorite quarterback is Peyton Manning, all time. And I think a lot of it is just his mental side of the game. I mean, that dude, nobody studied harder than him. Nobody knew more than him. And I think that's the biggest guy I want to go after.
You can do a little bit more athletically than Peyton there, right?
Definitely. A lot of people who don't think I'm very athletic, but even some of the coaches were surprised to see me running these past few days. So,
Devin, when you come here, you obviously come here understanding what Ryan can produce, his track record of production, not only at this level but in the NFL as well. What's your expectation for that relationship with him and your growth as a player? Is that basically one of the main reasons you're here?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I even tweeted out the other day, developed here, and just like look at all the guys we have in the NFL. I mean, Joe Burrow obviously went on to LSU, but he was here and he got developed, and he's even said he wouldn't be where he's at without coming here. And I think Coach Day really knows what he's doing with, you know, every single little thing. I think the biggest thing before I committed, when I came on my visit here to Michigan State, just the attention to detail with everything. Like, they handed me this big old binder about just little things like 1-inch throws and all these little things that, like, I was like, wow, they really pay attention to the details and they really want what's best for quarterbacks, and this is why they develop all these guys, and it just blew me out of the water.
When you're talking about that kind of development, it also means patience.
Right.
Because those are part and parcel. You have to be patient through the process, and understanding you might not play early on. How does that? We were talking about that a little bit earlier, but how does that? How can you process that when you want to be on the field? You want to be making progress towards your goals, but understanding that it might be painful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to want to be playing, but you just got to know. I mean, coaches have a plan for you, and they know what's best for the team. You want what's best for the team. At the end of the day, if you're not getting things done, you're not going to be playing, and you want what's best for the team. You want to go win a national championship. So, I mean, you just have to put your time in and just keep your head down, just keep working. Like, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. If you're not playing right away, you're going to get your time.
Devin, George Fitzpatrick was just asked about describing your personality. He said you're goofy. You don't seem like a goofy guy. Is he exaggerating a little bit?
No, I mean, no, you'll hear from my family. Anytime you talk to my dad, I bet if you asked him, he'd say I'm goofy, but just kind of a goofy, awkward kid growing up and everything. And, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen, but like my freshman year, I was like 5'8", 115 pounds. I was a little guy and just a gangly little goofy kid growing up, so it's just how it was.
When did you realize?
George?
How would I describe George?
Yeah.
A mess. He's my he's my roommate, and we're a little messy, but he's a good guy. I mean, people don't understand how athletic he is. That dude is so athletic. Like, he has the best times for the linemen. He's even up there with some of the skill guys. Like, he's faster than a lot of skill guys right now, and it helped him playing lacrosse. But he's a good dude. I love that guy.
You were so small as a freshman. When did you kind of realize, or did you believe all along that when I grow, I'm going to be, you know, develop into what you became?
It's funny, like, talking with my quarterback coach, Rudy Carpenter, like, to this day, he'll even say he was my biggest doubter. Like, I was hoping I could go start a high school football team. Like, nobody would have ever expected me to be where I'm at right now. And once I kind of like hit that hump and kind of started to grow a little bit, arm got a little stronger, it was like, okay, maybe you could play some high school football. But I think really, like, going into my junior year was when I really realized, like, okay, I could go do this.
And could you just kind of explain your decision to go from Arizona to Utah?
Yeah, there were some family things that went on, so I'm going to keep it out.
Did that prepare you for the winter that you're about to experience?
Definitely. Some of these guys are freezing up here. Like Kai and Ryan are from Florida, and they're like, man, I've never seen snow before. And I was like, I really barely saw it in Arizona where it was 120 in the summers, but moving up to Utah, I was only there for like 6 months. When I left, there was like 3 feet of snow, so I got used to it pretty quick.
Did you really live on your own?
Yeah, I lived with a family that was one of my receivers actually, but I was really on my own, to be honest.
I don't know how many of the receivers you've gotten a chance to spend some time around, but you have been around Kojo and you have been around Keon being at the All-American game. Can you just kind of describe them and just your first impressions of them as receivers?
Oh man, they're some freaks, really. I mean, I had some good dudes in high school, really good dudes that were going to play Division I football as well, but kind of when you go into Ohio State, it's like, wow, I mean, there's a reason why they're at Ohio State, and I mean, they're super smart players too. Like, they understand where they got to be and what their different timings are. It's wild how different they are.
Did Keon, especially Keon, did he do anything that maybe shocked you a little bit?
Keon's just a good dude. I love that dude. Like, me and him had a bond from Arizona, and I mean, he's just so smooth in and out of his routes, and he's just like, he's super smart, super smart. Like, he always knows like every little detail he can see, and it's super cool to see that from him.
How many interactions, and I'm sorry if you've been asked this already, how many interactions have you had with CJ Stroud?
Maybe like 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were your impressions of him when you first met him?
Oh, he's a good dude. Like, the first day I got here, I went into the quarterback's room, going to meet Coach Dennis a little bit, and he walked in, introduced himself, and he's just a great dude. He just loves to play ball and loves to be out here.
Devin, you were just talking about how, as a young player, you were just hoping to play high school.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to where you are, there had to be this inner confidence and belief in yourself.
Right.
Where does that come from, and how strong is that?
I think it's super strong. Like I said, once I kind of hit my junior year and I was a little more matured and had more arm strength, I was out throwing with guys that were at the Division I level already, and I was like, wow, I'm keeping up with these guys. If not, I'm throwing better than some of them. And I was like, okay, I guess I could really do this, and now I got to really put the work in if I truly believed in myself. And that's kind of when it hit, like, yeah, I can do this.
And now to be at least according to one service, the #1 player in the country, is it still hard to believe?
Very hard to believe. Still can't fathom it.
So when you were a 5'8" freshman, were you like going to bed at night saying, "Please let me grow"? Like, were you like, I'm desperate to try to grow into a Division I athlete, or did you just not even think that way?
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that. I really wasn't even thinking about my size. I was just trying to put weight on. Like, I was so skinny, I just didn't want to get beat up. Like, really, I just didn't want to get pounded by some dudes. But I mean, I knew, like, I thought I had a good enough arm strength at the time, but really watching my freshman film, thinking I was good at the time, I was like, wow, I got to offer my freshman year too, and that was the thing. Like, I don't know how I was offered at that time, really.
Who offered you?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin offered you at 5'8"?
Yes, offered me off for freshman film. It was funny. So we had a linebacker, Trey Reynolds, who's at Utah now, one of my best friends, and they were out to see him, and I was throwing for him, and I was kind of picking him apart, to be honest. And I was just like a little dude, and the next week they flew out their quarterbacks coach and watched me throw, and they offered me, and I was like, really? Even my dad asked, like, come on, coach, like, really? Is it real? Like, come on, did you see him?
Your dad was hating on you.
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad will be my biggest hater of all time. Like, that's how it should be. If he's not criticizing me on something, something's not right. He's always got to get after me.
Devin, what's it like navigating NIL as a freshman? Have you had any sort of opportunities come up?
Yeah, there's been a couple, but it really hasn't been that big of a deal. I think I really need to start playing before I even worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State offers so many resources about NIL. I think last week they offered some more educational or like specific employees about it. What have you taken from them? How invested is Ohio State in NIL for student athletes?
Oh, they're super invested. It just depends on what you're wanting to do with it. They kind of go after each guy differently depending on how they're going about it. Obviously for me, I'm not all the way for it, but like, I think it's a good thing for a lot of guys. But obviously I'm not too worried about it. But the guys that are worried about it, they're doing a really good job of making sure they're doing their taxes and all these stuff to keep them eligible and keep them out of legal trouble.
Gotcha. I also wanted to ask you about Kyle before. You mentioned, I think, throwing with him and practicing with him. What are your impressions of him, and what's it like going to be? What's it like going to be his teammate? Going to the next
It's gonna be fun these next few years. I really love that guy. I mean, he's been so helpful to me. Like I said, we've been out here throwing 3 times a week, and he's been teaching me so many different things. Like, I go in the team room and we gotta go over some stuff with coaches, but they can't coach us out here right now. So Kyle's really been kind of a coach for me right now, and I can't thank him enough for how helpful he's really been right now.
Can you explain a little more the attention to detail stuff you were talking about with Ohio State? The binder.
Mm-hmm.
When did that binder come out?
So I don't even have it right now, but they gave me a binder the day on my visit, and they wanted to show me like just how attention to detail they were. I mean, the binder was probably this thick. It was one of the like probably 8 binders that we'll have.
About like quarterback play.
Quarterback play, fronts, like every single thing we need to look at, every single thing.
And when you see that binder, are you like, oh my God, this binder's gigantic? Or are you like, awesome binder?
No, like that was the thing that blew me out of the water. Like, man, they really know what they want, and they really know what we need to know. And like that's why guys have success out of here, is because how much they really go into everything. And like compared to other schools, obviously every school is going to have different ways of teaching, but like I just knew that was it because of like how much they're really going to get after me.
Have you seen the binder again since you got here?
I haven't really looked at it much. They give me like portions of it.
Little pieces.
Yeah.
So
Just
the
little
binder is what convinced you in the end, or at least clinched
pieces. It was definitely a big factor for sure.
Devin,
a bit of a good cop, bad cop dynamic with the coaches. They kind of pride themselves on being the bad cop.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Are you, what do you think about knowing that you're going to probably not get a lot of praise?
I think that's the best thing for me. I think every quarterback should be getting ripped. Like honestly, Coach Kerr at Corner Canyon, like he was ripping me all the time, and he even said like one day after a game I didn't play very well, and he came up to my dad and he's like, man, I don't like it right now. He's just taking it so well how bad I'm getting after him. He just doesn't say anything. He's just cool. Like I think it's the best thing for you. Just like he shouldn't be soft on you at all.
Why do you think you have that attitude?
I mean, when you mess up, and you gotta fix it. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. I want it to be exactly how it was. If I did something bad, tell me I did it bad. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, you're okay. Like, no, it shouldn't be like that. You're not gonna get places like that.
Have you gone back and watched like how this passing game has looked with Dwayne and then Justin and then CJ? And I know it's been fairly consistent, but there's little things that I think Coach Day accentuates depending on the skills of the strength of those guys. Like, have you watched all 3 of those, and is there any one that you think might be more similar to how you were?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say maybe closer to CJ, but I think I definitely have that athleticism to move around and get more running yards and stuff like that. But I think more CJ and just how much we really aired out.
How about, like, they didn't do it with Dwayne, they didn't do it much of CJ, but with Justin, there was a lot of, like, under center play action stuff. I think more verticality in the offense, and it seems like you have the arm strength to maybe operate in those kind of areas as well. Like, do you feel like that's a strength of yours?
Definitely. We threw a lot of go balls and deep routes in Utah, so I think that's definitely helped me this year.
The first time that Ohio State really popped in your head as a possibility was when?
So, Coach Alford, the running backs coach, called me, and it was actually through like a recruiting guy in Utah, and I was like, I mean, there's no way Ohio State's coming after me. Like, no way. It's the running backs coach. I didn't really believe it. He's like, no, man, they're seriously interested in you. And really, when it hit me was when Coach Dennis flew out to our practice and watched me throw. And it was a raining practice. The ball was like 10 pounds, but we were still just getting after it. Like, it was dumping on us. And Coach Dennis has a video, and he's just standing out there. And he's in like jeans and a shirt, and it's maybe 20 degrees and just pouring rain on him. And he just loved it. Like, from that day, he just knew that like I was the guy that he wanted. And from that day, the next day, Coach Day called me and offered me, and that's kind of when I knew. And when they actually flew out, that's when I knew.
No little Ohio State sprinkles working with Joe Germain?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he was always talking about it when I was in Arizona. He was always talking about Ohio State, but at the time, I didn't even have nobody was talking to me from here or anything. Yeah. So he really wasn't saying much until they truly offered me and kind of got down to the wire. But I mean, like I said, like, he really wasn't pushing it at all. But I think in his head he really was. And then now that I actually am here, he's so happy.
When he spoke of Ohio State, what did he talk about? What did he say?
Just the memories that he had and just how bonded he was with that team. It's funny because at Queen Creek, I mentioned Trey Reynolds, who's a linebacker at Utah. Yeah. His dad was our athletic director, and he played safety for ASU with Pat Tillman in the Rose Bowl game. Oh, wow. Coach Germain went down and beat him in that game. Yeah. And they're together at the same high school and like closest friends. So it's a funny like dynamic there, and they're always messing with each other. But Coach Germain just tells us all about his stories and the Team Up North games and all the different memories that he's had. But he just he can't stress enough of how much he just loved the family environment here. It was just for him.
Devin, when you were offered here, you were committed to USC at the time. Was it difficult to make that decision to decommit from USC?
Definitely. I mean, I was so close with Coach Harrell and Coach Dagan. I still am to this day. And yeah, I mean, wish I really could have played for those guys, and I really love them. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think this is where I'm supposed to be, and I really love Coach Dennis and Coach Day, and So happy to be here.
What's it been like to kind of see what's been going on out at USC now with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams out there?
Oh, it's wild. It's a wild world. And they, Coach Riley called me the day after I committed, and I hadn't put anything out yet. And he was trying to come do a home visit. And I was like, I think I already made my decision. So it was a weird deal because they never said anything to me about it. And it was like, I don't know. It was a very weird deal.
But you're happy it all turned out this way.
The world is like now, in the revolving door. You just got here. It's not a question to ask. But just in your mind, your heart, how committed are you to being here through the ups and downs?
Oh, I'm here through and through. Never even thought about transferring. Like that would never come to my mind.
What stands out about Caden Curry? You've been around him a little bit. What jumps out at you about him?
When you think of a D lineman, I feel like you think of some big old dude that just gets after it. But he's not the biggest guy, but he just gets after it. He really does, and he's proved it at the All-American game. He was getting after guys, getting after big old dudes that are going and playing the SEC and stuff, and he really proved himself. And me and him are actually really close. Our rooms are right by each other, and we're in the same classes and stuff. That's why I love that guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a buzz about him, right? As that week went along, right?
Yep.
There really was. What was the buzz?
Nobody really expected it, to be honest. Everybody kind of thought, oh, just a little white kid, like he's not gonna be able to do anything, and he got after the guys.